Yo, let me tell you a story about a plant nursery that grew from the ground up, and now people won't shut up about their collection and great reputation. So I had to visit and see for myself, because I hear from plant shelf to plant nursery in under a year. Wow. Welcome to the Unsolicited Plant Tour.
What should be a realistic responsibility of a seller?
That one's definitely controversial in the community, I think, because you see really from one end of the spectrum to the other. Some sellers just kind of say, once it's out of my door, it's out of my hands.
Right.
Although I understand that viewpoint, because it's plants and it's hard and there's a lot of variables that are out of your control, we try to take care of people almost in full as much as we can.
We're fortunate enough to be able to take care of people because we grow so many plants. So let's say you buy something from me. You give me your money, I send you the plant, the plant's destroyed for some reason, right? During transit. If me as a seller tell you, well, it's not me, it's on you.
Well, it's usually the UPS, right? It's
Yeah.
It usually is them,
Then you're out of plant and you're out of money. You have nothing.
Right.
Me, I still have plants to grow.
Yeah.
So I think it would be so selfish of me to say, well, it's on you, like, not my fault, when I can just give you another plant that I've grown if I already have it, or refund you because you never got the product that you got, when I can just keep growing. That's the good thing about plants, they keep growing. It's not like you only have, 2 stocks, and once you sell one, you only have one.
Well, some people, some plants, that is the case, right?
Yeah.
Some super rare plants, people only have 1 or 2 copies.
We've definitely had a little bit more communication, like if we have a much more rare plant and it's like, okay, if something happens, maybe we might split, but that's very upfront communication on that. And I think we've only really done that a couple of times. I think the communication is just the most important. As long as everybody goes into the deal knowing what the deal is, you assume your own risks, you know what I mean? So even if somebody says my hands are off, as long as they're saying that beforehand, or before the transaction, then it kind of is what it is. The buyer, I think, kind of has to make their choice on who they want to buy from in instances like that. We both worked restaurant for a long time. I was a chef. She was a waitress before she was a nurse. And, just kind of
take care of your
customers.
You take care of
your customers always right. And I think we kind of just carried that over. And there were times where, if you want the truth of it, the first 6 months of selling, we didn't see any profits. We were...
Your utility bill is just that's insane.
We didn't, so we were... And that wasn't largely because of refunds, you know what I mean? It was more because of the smaller scale, but and putting things back into the business. But we still took care of people, even when we didn't have a replacement, and we just said, okay. And literally, I can remember at least 2 instances where we drove down to LA and went to plant shops to find a replacement for somebody where their plant didn't arrive proper. And so we would drive 2-hour trips, whatever it is, and just to get a replacement for somebody.
I think that's the biggest thing for us, just customer service, as much as we can.
The community's great.
The community, the houseplant community is really I'm so grateful. So we're both hermits, and we've met you. We've met so many people. We've met so many people that I would have never thought that those kind of people exist, and I'm so grateful.
There are a lot of hermits in the plant community. This channel was mostly because I had friends, or I've met friends, who had these amazing collections.
And you just want to document it.
Well, and who sees these collections, right? It's 5 people, right? They have 2 rooms full of plants, and 5 people appreciates it. So that's why I was just let's share something.
Show it off.
So how do you how do you reach new customers? Do you have Instagram? Or you mostly do Facebook groups?
So I have Instagram. But when I created that Instagram, I was mainly just showing off plants because I love them and I wanted to show them off. In my opinion, I'm so grateful that I feel like our plants speak for themselves. Because when somebody opens up their box and see a beautiful plant and they feel like they're compelled to show it off and say where they got it from, I feel like that's what's happening. That's how we're
the quality speaking for itself.
Yeah.
As sellers yourselves, what would you recommend for new buyers or even experienced buyers? What should they look for in a seller?
Communication, I think, is the biggest thing. But it goes both ways, because I've also communicated with some people that we've bought from that are what do they call that? Silver-tongued, you know, and like they're such great communicators and all this, and that's great. And then you get the plant, and you're like, well, this isn't anything like what we talked about. And so it really is a tough thing, and I don't think it's super large in the community. Like I said, I personally, from the experience we have, I love the community. I think that most everybody is excellent, but there are some of those people you got to watch out for. And when it comes to that, honestly, just reviews. I mean, I just can kind of, from a business standpoint and from a buyer standpoint, you know, reach out to your community. There's plenty of Facebook groups. You just say, hey, have you guys heard from this? I'm very interested in this expensive plant, but I don't know who they are. And somebody might be like, whoa, no, don't. Or they might be like, oh, excellent, they're wonderful. So
being as like this is all you, what's your typical day like? It's gotta be.
It's chaotic. I mean, because we have 7 dogs.
Yeah, we have the property to manage. It's I think the easiest way I could say it is it's nonstop.
So like what? So like you wake up at 7, 8?
7 to 8, anywhere in there. And the first thing we do is during the summer, coffee for her. Caffeine doesn't affect me, luck would have it. So coffee in the morning, and we start that. We open up the greenhouses. If it's warm, then we got to get those open so they don't overheat and turn things on like fans and all that. At night, you know, we have to close up for the cold. During the summer, hopefully we can leave things open so it's a little bit less. You know, we have anywhere between 6,000 to 7,000 individual pots at a time, and it's just a lot of work. And so, you know, maintaining things, making sure things are watered, organizing, making cuttings, shipping takes a bulk of our time.
Oh yeah.
There was a huge shipment we did that took us 11 days. To ship everything out, and obviously people are like, hey, you know, am I getting my package? And it is on our site that it can take up to 14 days, but not everybody sees that. So, and during that it was no one sees it. I didn't want to say that, but nobody sees that. So we get a lot of emails, and we're like, hey, you know, so sorry, it's us, we're working on it, and we give them an estimated time. But during that time frame, and I can be completely honest with you, it was coffee, picking plants, picking plants, packing until around 10 or 11 at night. We would relax for about an hour and rinse and repeat. And even now it's similar out there. So
what a lot of people don't understand is, let's say we sell 500 plants, right? We don't just pick and pack. We clean every single leaf as much as we can. I'm very particular. I want somebody to receive a box, open it, and say, wow, I can just put it on my shelf and be done. And admire it.
That's
my goal.
It makes us so happy to see that.
So even though it's tedious, I feel like it's so worth it to just make somebody smile opening their box and like, oh my god, this is beautiful. So even if, like, let's say 500 plants, if they all have 3 leaves, I mean, I'm being like generous here, you know, they have 3 leaves. Obviously some of them are like small, so they have like 10. You multiply that by 500, and we're there like constantly, like, cleaning.
Lots of this.
Pest, this and having pest.
My fingers
And then
crack. And
after
like
that, we pick the plants during winter. This is the extra where the extra work comes in. I check every single weather, every single order. Let's say we have 600 like orders. I look at every single zip code, and I email them. I say, hey, this is a target shipping date. Do you want a heat pack? Or like they ordered a heat pack. Well, you're in the 70s. I'm going to refund you and all that stuff. So I do all of that individually, and then every single plant is wrapped individually, and all that stuff.
And then with installation, it has a heat pack as well, so it's an extra
It's a process, but I think it's worth it, you know, to make somebody like think like, wow, my money is worth it.
I mean, like I said, we've received like some bad mail before, and so we're just like, we never want anybody to have that experience. And if they do, I mean, almost every time people reach out to us and we take care of it instantly. We're saying, hey, so sorry that happened. You know, things happen. Shipping happens. USPS happens. It's such a drop in the stomach whenever you open your plant mail and you're so excited, and it's just not what you were expecting. And so we do our best to make sure that anybody who does happen to experience that is then, you know, they get an excellent one coming back, right back at them.
Nowadays, that plants are so expensive, right? And they're like, oh, these sellers are like, they're just making like so much money off me.
But the overhead is all different.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything about the utilities, the cost of that. This was part of your home, which is the only reason it seems like you guys could have made it work.
It's working,
right? If you guys didn't have such a large area in the back of the home, this would not be feasible, right?
Exactly.
You would have to rent additional land to do this.
We had a tent out here.
Right, and yeah, like the utilities, the amount of time, like these are full-time things for you guys now. How many hours a day are you communicating or social media?
So she takes care of social media, and like I help her to like proof some things sometimes, but really it's all her, and I try to take care of the majority of the emails. Usually it's people very happy. Sometimes
like
it's something
20
else.
a day. What's your average?
So yeah, so right now, like honestly, like only a couple a day.
Okay.
Only a couple of days. People reaching out. When we update, I mean it's probably 40 to 60. And then as I'm responding, I'm getting this constant cycle, and so it turns into like a 2 or 3 hour endeavor just of answering emails. And then I'll step away and I'll come back, and maybe it's another hour at night, you know, finishing up. Or truthfully, I come at it the next day because I'm just tired. And so yeah, during packing days, we spend more time than I would like with emails. But it's a necessary part of the business, and you know we value that communication with the Instagram. And the social media.
It's hard. As much as I wanted to.
She's amazing.
I actually love meeting people. Not in the person. I love meeting people and like learning, you know, like new things online. And I unfortunately, because of the amount of work that we have to put on these, like it's very limited. I feel so bad that I can't respond to every single one of them, because every day I would be.
We used to, and we just can't anymore.
You can send me a message, let's say at 10 a.m., right? And I don't respond until like 3. Your message is buried. Like that's why I tell people. Yeah, like hundreds of them. And I tell people spam me, because people feel bad.
Oh.
And I said, actually, if you really, really want to get my attention right away, spam me, because that's going to put your message on the top. Doesn't matter whether Facebook, Instagram.
I never even thought about it. That's actually a great.
Yeah, and people feel bad. I'm like,
the inbox is already full, so it doesn't matter if we get more.
You know, with the last year or so, there's been a lot of like anger in the community. There's a lot of people like being a lot more mean. You know, when you're in traffic for a long time, you're much more likely to honk.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're just in a road and like someone just like, you know, just an empty road just like chugging along, and someone like cuts you off, you're like, whatever. Right? Like, yeah, but if you're in traffic, people are much more likely to get angry, much more likely to honk. So I feel that with the stressful years or year and a half or something that we've had, people are socially honking a lot.
Yeah.
I see that a lot as well.
I feel like it's getting worse in certain communities too.
Has that affected you, like from a business standpoint, or people have been pretty?
I don't think we let it. It did come up, but I don't think. Yeah, I don't think we let it like affect us. When I was selling, very beginning, when I was trying to sell so that I can like feed my addiction. I remember I was selling plants when we moved here. I had plants here, and I'm talking about like I can't keep up, like I can't give them humidity and all that stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna sell them as is. Yeah. You know, you write it on your terms or whatever. As is. Brandy was like very popular then. $5, you know, just buy it, $5. Oh my gosh, this lady came, or like she received it, and she was like, you should have shipped it in pie, you should have done this, $5. Took me to PayPal claims. And I'm like, you could have just asked for a refund. I could have given you your $5. And like, you know, there are people like that. Like you said, it's like your definition of like honking. Like, I want my plant perfect in a specific way. And I don't think we definitely experienced a lot of those. But I don't think we ever let it affect us.
I love what you guys have built.
Thank you.
As a person who like really appreciates hard work, like I mean this.
Thank you.
This is like, this really epitomizes something, definitely grassroots, you built from the ground up.
Alright guys, if you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. See you on the next episode. Till next time, happy planting.